You may think that celebrities will keep singing until they can no longer sing. But there is one person, 63 years old. I voluntarily stopped talking. At that time, her voice was still at its peak. Almost no one can force her to leave. 17 years later, Annie Murray's new album suddenly appears in the recording studio, but she herself has no trace. Understand how this happened. We must go back to the summer of 1970. Former female teacher in a mining town in Nova Scotia, 25 years old. I released a very quiet song, naming the Snowbird. Within a few months, this song flew out of Canada, sales exceeding 1 million copies, and Murray becomes the first Canadian female singer to win a gold record in the United States. She also became the first Canadian female solo artist to make it onto the US charts. At that time, she had only been officially singing for about 3 years. No one expected it. This inconspicuous beginning, it will become one of the largest performing arts careers in Canadian history. In the past few decades, she has sold 55 million albums, won 4 Grammy Awards and 24 Juno Awards. Billboard later listed her as one of the top 10 most successful contemporary adult singers in history. For a full 40 years, her voice sounds almost every day somewhere in North America. Kitchen radio, car audio, TV, and wedding hall. Then in 2008, it disappeared from the public eye. Many people thought she was sick. Various rumors have also repeatedly appeared online. Those are all fake. And Murray lives very well. Very healthy body. I am fully aware of the decision I have made. She voluntarily gave up what she was best at. I don't even want to come back. If you have ever had regular morning activities, I heard her song in the kitchen. Click like. Perhaps it can make more people remember that voice again. And Murray, June 20th, 1945. Born in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Chuncheon Town is built on coal. I also know better than most places what loss is. An explosion in 1891 took the lives of over 120 men and boys. In 1956, another mining accident occurred. Then in October 1958, serious underground collapse occurs again. The miners are trapped thousands of feet deep. 74 people are unable to return. Annie was only 13 years old at the time. Her father, James Carson Murray, is a doctor in town. So this disaster is, for her family, the news in the newspaper is not far away. They know the rescued people. They also know those who haven't come back yet. My wife, children, and parents are all waiting by the mine. They are also people they know. When Chuncheon Town needs help, everyone will go find Dr. Murray. Annie has seen her father being called away in the middle of the night since she was young. Her mother, Marion, studied nursing. Devote a significant amount of time to charitable work. They raised 6 children together. Annie is the only girl among the 5 brothers. That is a busy and pragmatic home. No one is encouraged to feel special. Dad, no matter who comes, treat him well. Mom can do anything she needs to do. Since she became famous, this way of growing up has accompanied her for a long time, even at the peak of one's career. When others mention her achievements, she still looks a bit uncomfortable. Music entered her life through self-discipline. Instead of dreaming of becoming a celebrity, she studied piano for 6 years, starting from the age of 15, every Saturday. Take a bus from Chuncheon Town to Tatamagouche for a vocal class. That road passes through a large rural area. Winter means cold winds, long waiting times, and hours of commuting. Only applicable to the previous class. She runs every week. Many years later, the audience said her voice was natural and relaxed, but the control they heard. In fact, on those Saturday roads, it gradually became practical. At that time, there was no grand career plan. No one promised to give her a record contract, either. She's just a teenager. Seriously learn how to use your own voice. Annie didn't study music after going to college. She went to the University of New Brunswick, obtained a degree in physical education. After graduation, I taught for a year at a school in Prince Edward Island. That brief classroom experience. Later on, this influenced all of her subsequent choices. Before she reached adulthood, fame did not knock on her door. She already has education, career, salary, and responsibilities. She knows she can live outside of the entertainment industry because she has already lived like this. Many performers pursue fame from a young age until their careers become their entire identity. After the applause disappeared, they no longer knew who they were. Annie didn't enter this industry until she was 25 years old. Steady footsteps. She regards singing as her job. She takes important work very seriously. But this has never been the definition of her whole person. This is exactly where the difference lies. Later, she was given the ability to leave. Her opportunity comes from Canadian television. Annie auditions for the CBC program produced in Halifax. It is called The Joyful Cantata. That's a family summer program, filled with folk hymns and traditional music from the Atlantic coast of Canada. Not charming at all. There are no powerful American executives behind the camera. This is just a local program with a loyal audience. She failed her first audition. Never give up. Come back and try again. Second acceptance. One of the hosts is Bill Lundstrom. This program later gave Annie the starting point of her career. She also gave it to someone who later got married. After joining the choir, she appeared again in another series of programs on CBC. In the late 1960s, she recorded an album, signed a small label. Those early recordings. I can't even say that an international breakthrough is coming soon. Then she recorded The Snowbird. This song was composed by coastal musician Gene McClellan. Gentle but slightly melancholic, this painting depicts the freedom of birds and the loss of love. On paper, this album doesn't seem to have changed Canadian music. What did the audience hear? Snowbirds enter the top 10 in the United States. Sold 1 million copies. The congressional record signed by Anne. Suddenly, Chuncheon Town singer start competing in the world's largest music market. In 1970, Canada did not have a reliable channel to enter American industry. Canadian performers are typically regarded as local artists, unable to leave one's own audience group. Annie broke through that obstacle. Later, every Canadian artist who went south, the door she helped open benefited everyone greatly. She rarely brings herself glory. This low-key approach is very suitable for her. Under the humble exterior, he is a particularly reliable singer. Annie walked into the recording studio, almost immediately provide clean and controllable performance. Her pitch is stable, and her rhythm is precise. I also know how much emotion a song requires. The producer remembers that she rarely makes mistakes. Her recording doesn't require any technical skills, so that the audience can hear that voice. In 1972, she performed Kenny Loggins' Danny's song, bring the top 10 to the United States. This love song won her a Grammy Award the following year. She often appears on television in Canada and the United States. In those years, there were special variety shows and interviews. This is the key to engaging with the public. Annie hosts her own special program, still burdened with an extremely heavy travel schedule. She was doing this when she was pregnant, doing so while taking care of the child, shuttling back and forth between Canada and the United States. Sometimes it's difficult to distinguish between one week and the next. By the mid-1970s, she is no longer just a Canadian singer who has performed well abroad. She became the most successful Canadian record artist of that generation. Decades later, an interviewer asked her, "Do you miss that kind of life?" Annie answered without hesitation, "I don't miss it at all. Now she can sing happy birthday to her friends." Enough. In the late 1970s, her success became even greater. In 1978, she released You Need Me. This song won first place in the United States and won the Grammy Award for Best Pop Singer. Until today, this remains one of the most obvious examples of her uniqueness. Annie doesn't sound like she's performing for a large group of people. It's like having a private conversation with someone. In 1980, she recorded an album for the movie City Cowboy. Can I Invite You to Dance This Dance? This song has become a standard wedding song in several countries. The couple who danced with it for the first time decades ago. Later, I saw that my own child also chose the same album. Then in 1983, some good news came. This song depicts the daily exhausting violent tragedies and bad news. This is different from many of her early works. Risk has returns. This helped her win important honors from the Country Music Association, winning the Grammy Award again. Later on, these numbers were almost unbelievable. For Grammy Awards, June 24th, entering the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame. Order of Canada, 55 million albums sold worldwide. One of the greatest adult contemporary artists of all time on Billboard. These numbers sound like a distant yet majestic superstar, but Annie has never done this before. You can see this in previous interviews. The host described her level of success. She's almost a bit embarrassed. In 1975, she married Bill Lundstrom. He was the host of her first Joyful Chorus. They have 2 children, William and Dawn. Dowen later became a singer and painter. Her voice will ultimately be recorded in a special album, Appearing with Mother. Annie and Bill have been married for 23 years. We broke up in 1998. Behind awards and television appearances, this is the cost of living for continuous travel. Annie has never referred to herself as a victim. She wants this profession. I also understand the choices involved. But she admitted that fame swallowed up time. This is the most troublesome part for her. She has children, husband, parents, and 5 brothers. Many of them are still in contact with New Student Scotia. Her job requires Los Angeles, Nashville, and Toronto. One different stage after another. No one can appear in all these places at the same time. For decades, and has been absorbing this conflict. Keep up the good work. Her story should not be written as a tragedy. She never said those years were stolen. She likes singing, and he's particularly good at it. But every successful profession requires rewards. Children only have limited weekends in their lifetime. In the 1990s and early 21st century, her rhythm slowly calmed down, but it didn't stop. She continued her recording journey. In the late 1950s, the entire site could still be filled. For other artists, this may be a peak period. For her, this is just the later stage. At some point, she began to make decisions. How do you want your career to end? There is no public crisis. She made a choice privately. Anne Murray retired in 2008 at the age of 63. I have been working in music for 41 years. That year, she released a Christmas album. She said this could be her last album. Her explanation made her thoughts very clear. She is grateful to be able to stop comfortably. She once doubted whether she could reach that level. The most important thing is that she knows she can still sing, so she thinks now is a good time to leave. When her voice was still usable, she stopped. Pop music usually encourages the opposite choice. The performer continues to perform until health issues arise or the audience loses interest. The farewell journey has been postponed for several years. Some singers are still playing notes that their voices cannot touch because retirement feels like losing oneself. Annie refuses to wait and refuses to make decisions for her. At the age of 63, her voice remained loud and clear. She chose to leave it in people's memories in this way. Let go of what you are particularly good at. We need more than just discipline. We also need an identity that transcends talent. Athletes, actors, doctors, musicians, struggling frequently after career disappearance. For 40 years, she has been regarded as a woman with a voice. Annie must make a decision. Who is still there when she no longer uses it? She already knows the answer. Before recording and awarding, she is a student, a teacher, a daughter, and a sister. He is an ordinary office worker. She is human. Then, the famous voice came. Retirement did not erase her. There is no long farewell journey. There are no dramatic TV programs. Goodbye. There is no casino in the hotel. No reunion journey. There is no last game. One game after another. The last game. Annie finished her work and went home. 1 year later, she published a complete memoir about me. This book discusses family, marriage, and career. The pressure behind this seemingly calm photo. She writes without any sentimentality. At that time, she didn't have a tour to promote. The image of no record company needs to be protected. She can tell stories straightforwardly. Losses after retirement have become a bigger part of life. My mother, Marion, passed away in 2006. My father left in 1980, before Anne's most glorious career. Bill Langstrom's passed away in 2013. My youngest brother, Bruce, passed away in 2020. Bruce is also a singer, recorded on Capitol Records in the 1980s. His music will return in unexpected ways later. Every anniversary and industry invitation, Annie remains consistent. She never sang publicly again. Not for charity, not for the award ceremony, not suitable for young performers, not celebrating for the Hall of Fame, not suitable for spending relaxing and high-paying nights in casinos. Annie Murray, come back and have a fight. We could have sold out all the tickets in various parts of Canada. The answer is still negative. She turned around and returned to Chunshan Town. The Anne Murray Center opened there in 1989. At that time, her career was still thriving. This small museum has helped a community that has lost a mine, bring tourists and money. Annie comes back every year to celebrate. Fans come from distant places, such as the UK and Australia. Take a look at the small town where the story begins. Chunshan Town was once famous for the disaster in 1958. For many tourists, it later became Anne Murray's hometown. She left in the 1960s. In the latter half of life, she kept shifting her attention back to the community that raised her. By 2026, she will turn 81 years old. Living in Toronto, exercise with coach twice a week, playing golf and swimming. She joked that at this age, one should stand up straight. We must keep moving forward. She's not seriously ill, not avoiding the world. Don't forget or wait for the phone to ring. She is with the children. Go to Chunshan Town, occasionally accepting interviews. Still straight and interesting. According to herself, she is very happy. The rumors online are trying to fabricate a darker story. In April 2026, a false death report spread, causing unnecessary pain. There are no hidden crashes. The truth is simpler. Annie chose her own private life. I don't regret it. Then, an old fan discovered something in the file. At the age of 15, he watched Annie's performance for the first time in Las Vegas. A few years later, he flipped through the box she donated to a university in Canada. Inside are recordings from 1978 to 1995, starting from the era when her voice was at its loudest. Some were recorded for the album, but have been removed from the last track. Some are just stored and forgotten. This includes her performance of Bryan Adams songs, directly from the heart. This is the catalog from 1984. There is also an unreleased lyrical song recorded in the spring of 1989. At first, Anne had no intention of listening. Her reasons are very practical. If these recordings were not good enough for the original album at that time, Why will the situation improve decades later? Finally, she agreed to listen. The sound of the horns startled her. Those songs are much better than she remembers. September 5th, 2025. Universal Music Canada has released You Here. There are 11 and Murray records inside, which I have never heard of before. Bob Locke serves as executive producer. Dowen sang this song on the album. Annie's nephew Dell plays guitar. The cover is a portrait of and painted by an artist in 1971. There is a song called Heaven in My Heart, with the deepening of family relationships. Her brother Bruce recorded this song before he passed away. You Have Become Anne's 33rd studio album. 17 years ago, she expressed that she might never release a new album again. In January 2026, Annie talked about this project on National Public Radio. She sounds very interested in this unlikely series of events. A fan who remembers seeing her when she was in her teens. Search for files and find an album that no one knows exists. Doppuli organized a tribute ceremony. Nowadays, rural singers sing her songs. The new generation recorded the voices of many listeners before they were born. Found her, but Annie hasn't come back yet to sing. Every sound in the album, they all come from 30 to 47 years ago. The audience heard Anne's voice in her 30s and 40s. I have heard the sound of musical instruments since their heyday. An 80-year-old woman introduced this project. No new lead singer has been recorded. She didn't go on tour. I didn't use its success as an excuse either. Reopen the business that was closed in 2008. She accepted the interview and expressed her respect, then returned to the peaceful daily life in Toronto. This album brings back the sound, but she didn't bring Anne back to the stage. This is a detail that many people find difficult to understand. The greatest performers of the last few years, still striving to capture what once made them unique. They still feel that due to their talent, they owe the public a favor. Annie treats herself differently. She used it for a full 41 years, then put it down while it's still strong. 17 years later, the young voice returned. But this does not require elderly women to sacrifice the lives they have built. It came out of the archive box, because the audience will never forget the concert they attended when they were 15 years old. There is no hidden tragedy in this story. There are no broken stars to gaze upon. And Murray did not disappear because the world rejected her. She left because she had already completed it. She understands that her career may come to an end. Life doesn't have to end together. At the age of 81, she stayed at home healthy. My father's town still has her name hanging on a building. My daughter sings with her young voice. My nephew is playing with a record, a song related to a deceased brother. Find a Place that may still be her last album. That voice has never disappeared. It has already said everything and wanted to say. It still exists in 55 million records scattered in households around the world. Playing Snowbirds tonight. Those years will disappear. Annie has returned to the age of 25. Summer of 1970. A former female teacher from an injured mining town, only a few minutes away from making history. Thank you all for seeing this. If this story can also resonate with you, you can click to subscribe. You are also welcome to leave your thoughts in the comment section.